I am 63 years old, and I have wasted more time than most people will ever have. Not because I was lazy, I was the opposite of lazy. I was relentlessly busy, up at 6, tie pressed, coffee cold by the time I remembered it was there. I was moving every single day. But movement is not the same as direction. I had a calendar full of other people's priorities, a desk covered in other people's deadlines, a life that looked impressive from the outside and felt completely hollow from the inside. 50 years. That is how long it took me to understand what I am about to hand you in the next 10 minutes. I am not here to inspire you. I am here because someone needed to tell me this at 30. Nobody did, so I am telling you now. Pay attention. You were young, maybe 7, maybe 8, sitting in a plastic chair under fluorescent lights. And the adults in the room, the teachers, the counselors, the gray suits at career day, they handed you this map and said, follow this. This is how it works. Study hard, get the degree, find a stable job, climb the ladder, buy the house, retire with dignity, clean, simple, laminated. And you believed them, because why wouldn't you? They were adults. They had briefcases. They looked like they knew something you didn't. Here is what they didn't tell you. That map was not drawn for you. It was drawn for the machine. The machine needs workers. The machine needs consumers. The machine needs people who are too tired on Friday night to ask dangerous questions. So it keeps you busy, deliberately busy. It gives you a mortgage so you cannot quit. It gives you a title so you feel too proud to leave. It gives you a retirement plan so distant and so foggy that you keep telling yourself, later, I will live later. Later is a lie they sell to the young. I bought it wholesale. I spent 30 years in a building I did not love, around people I did not choose, doing work that would be forgotten before the ink dried on my severance letter. I traded the irreplaceable hours of my 40s, the strongest, sharpest years I had, for a salary and a parking spot with my name on it. They took the gold, they gave me the frame, and I smiled and hung it on the wall. The map was never yours, it was never mine. It belonged to someone who needed us to stay in line, stay productive, stay quiet, and we did. God help us, we did. I want to tell you about Raymond. Raymond was my closest friend for 31 years. We started at the same company the same September. 2 young men in stiff new shoes carrying identical briefcases. We used to laugh about that. 2 idiots with the same haircut walking into the same cage. Raymond was the good soldier, better than me even. He never complained, never rocked the boat. Never took the vacation days he had earned, because there was always a deadline, always a quarter to close, always a reason to wait. His wife, Linda, used to call me quietly. She would say, Frank, he hasn't taken a real day off in 4 years. I would tell her, that's just Raymond. That's how he is built. That is what we told ourselves. That workaholism was a personality trait, not a symptom. Raymond retired at 62. There was a small party in the conference room. A sheet cake with his name spelled wrong in blue frosting. A gold watch that cost less than his weekly parking fee. His boss shook his hand for 30 seconds and then took a phone call. 31 years. 30 seconds. Raymond had a list. Portugal, the guitar his father left him. A fishing cabin somewhere in Montana he had torn out of a magazine in 2003 and kept in his desk drawer like a promise. He was dead before his 64th birthday. Aggressive, fast, no warning. The company sent a flower arrangement, carnations and baby's breath in a plastic pot. Linda put it on the porch. It was dead in a week. Raymond never saw Portugal. The guitar is still in the case. The magazine clipping was found in his desk when they cleaned it out. Still folded, still crisp. He waited. He waited his whole life. and time did not wait back. So let me give you what nobody gave me. 3 tests, not motivational poster material, not something you stitch on a pillow. These are brutal. They are supposed to be. Because the truth that makes you uncomfortable is the only truth worth hearing. The first test, the deathbed test. Close your eyes. You are 88 years old. Thin blanket, dim room, the smell of antiseptic and old coffee. You are looking back at the last 50 years of your life, not your LinkedIn profile, not your salary history, your life, the Tuesday afternoons, the phone calls you made, the ones you didn't, the trips you canceled because the timing wasn't right. Ask yourself honestly, am I proud of how I spent the hours? Not the achievements, the hours. If the answer twists your stomach, pay attention to that feeling. That feeling is information. The second test, the Sunday dread test, Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, that gray sinking feeling creeping up your chest like cold water. You know the one. Most people medicate it with television and takeout boxes. I did it with whiskey for a decade. But that dread is not weakness. That dread is your gut sending you a telegram. It is telling you that something fundamental is wrong with how you are spending your one life. Do not silence it. Read it. The third test, the stranger's life test. Look at your daily routine, your job, your relationships, your habits. Now ask yourself this cold, clean question. If a complete stranger handed me this life, would I accept it, or would I politely hand it back? Most people hand it back in their mind every single morning. Then they get dressed and go anyway. If any of these 3 tests just hit you somewhere real, leave a comment below. Tell me which one. I am not talking to algorithms here. I want to know I am reaching a living human being who still has time to change the answer. Now let me tell you what I actually believe. After 63 years, after the briefcases and the parking spots and the sheet cakes with the wrong names, after Raymond, after all of it, real wealth is not in the account. I have met rich men who were the most desperately poor human beings I have ever seen. Corner office, lake house, empty eyes. Men who could buy anything and felt nothing. Men whose children called their assistant instead of them. Men who died surrounded by expensive furniture and total strangers in good suits. That is not wealth. That is an expensive costume over a hollow chest. Real wealth is the unrepeatable Tuesday afternoon. It is the slow cup of coffee you actually tasted, the walk you took with no destination, the conversation that went 2 hours past midnight because neither of you wanted it to end, the phone call you made to your father when he was still alive to answer it, the guitar you actually picked up, the ticket you actually bought. These moments do not appear on any balance sheet, but they are the only things you will reach for when the room gets quiet and the blanket gets thin. Time is the only currency that cannot be reprinted. Every central bank on earth can print more money. Every factory can manufacture more product. But no force in this universe can give you back a single Thursday morning you spent staring at a spreadsheet that no longer exists for a company that no longer remembers your name. And here is the thing nobody tells you when you are young and invincible and certain that later is a real place you can visit. Later arrives. It always arrives. The question is whether you arrive with it. Present, awake, still holding something that was genuinely yours, or whether you arrive empty-handed, wondering where the years went, staring at a folded magazine clipping you never acted on. Like Raymond, do not be Raymond. Let me do some math with you. The average human life is roughly 28,000 days. That sounds like a lot, I know. It sounds like a warehouse full of time. Endless shelves stretching back into the dark. Go ahead. Take your time. There is plenty. There is not plenty. If you are 30 years old right now, you have used 11,000 days already. You have roughly 17,000 left. If you sleep 8 hours a night, which most of you do not, you lose 1/3 immediately. That warehouse just got smaller, a lot smaller. If you are 40, do the subtraction yourself. I will wait. If you are 50, you already feel it, that faint ticking behind the sternum, that awareness that the horizon is not as far as it used to be. You feel it in the morning when you stand up. You feel it when another year passes and the thing you promised yourself still sits untouched on the shelf. I am 63. I do not have the luxury of later anymore, but you might. If you are watching this at 30 or 40 or even 50, you still have days in that warehouse, not infinite days, not the mountain of days you imagined at 20, but enough. Enough to change the map, enough to put down what was never yours, enough to pick up the guitar, book the flight, make the call. But only if you start treating each day like the non-renewable resource it actually is. Not tomorrow, not after the next promotion, not when the kids are grown or the mortgage is smaller or the timing is finally right. The timing will never be right. That is by design. Remember the machine. It needs you. Stop waiting. If this reached something deep in you today, something you have been quietly carrying for years, tell me in the comments. One sentence. What is the thing you keep promising yourself and never doing? I read every single one because I was Raymond once and I refuse to let you be.